I'd been driving Uber for almost 8 months by then. Late nights were usually quiet, mostly airport runs, bar drop-offs, or food delivery. You learn to expect silence. People are tired, half-drunk, lost in their phones. I preferred it that way. That night, it was drizzling lightly. The kind of rain that doesn't soak you but clings to your windshield like it's thinking about something. I had my thermos with me, one earbud in, some instrumental playlist low in the background. Around 1:10 a.m., a ping came in. Pick up, Derek. Location, an empty bowling alley near a strip mall off Arlington Avenue. When I pulled up, the place was dark, the kind of dark that feels older than night. Most of the storefronts were shuttered. The alley's neon sign was off, but one parking lot light flickered overhead. And under it, a man stood alone. Gray hoodie. Jeans. Tall. Still. He wasn't on his phone, wasn't pacing. Just standing there like he'd been placed there. I slowed to a stop, rolled the window down slightly. You Derek? He didn't answer right away. Just nodded once and got in the back seat, directly behind me. The door clicked shut softer than I expected. The app listed the destination as 315, Long Barrel Lane. I knew the street, it was mostly half-built houses and one or two places where the walls had been tagged so many times you couldn't tell what color they used to be. I tapped Start Trip and the map loaded. The route lit up, no traffic. We drove in silence for about 3 minutes. He didn't use his phone, didn't look out the window. Just sat there, hands folded in his lap. You been waiting long? I asked, just to break the quiet. A pause. Then, long enough. I nodded. Tried not to think about the tone, flat, unreadable. Could have been tired. Could have been something else. The farther we drove, the emptier things got. No headlights behind me. No movement in the rear view, just the back of his hood. As we reached Long Barrow, the streetlights started thinning out. Some flickered once and died. Others glowed too brightly, buzzing faintly. Which house? I asked, slowing as we passed the first few. He leaned forward a little. I felt him more than saw him. That one, he said. He pointed to a house with boarded windows and a front door that looked like it had been kicked in at some point. No lights. The grass was tall, almost to the porch. One of those homes the builders abandoned midway when the investors pulled out. I put the car in park, hand on the gear shift. He opened the door. Wait here. And with that, he got out and walked toward the house. The rain had slowed. Just a whisper now, like static across the windshield. I tapped the steering wheel with my thumb. The app timer kept running. A few minutes passed. Then 5. I checked the rear view. Still empty. Tried looking through the gloom, no movement near the house. No porch light. Nothing. I reached for my phone to message him but froze. The trip wasn't there. Not in progress, not completed. Nothing. The screen just read, no current trips. I closed the app, reopened it. Still blank. A low pressure started building in my chest. I looked out again, half expecting to see him still on the porch. He wasn't. I turned on the dome light, checked the back seat. Empty. Door closed. I never heard it shut. Heart picking up now. I unlocked the doors and stepped out, shoes crunching wet gravel. The house was silent. No movement. I walked to the edge of the yard, flashlight on my phone flickering as I raised it. No signs of him. No footprints in the tall grass. Just untouched earth, heavy with rain. Derek? I called out. Nothing. I walked back to the car, climbed in, locked the doors. Tried the app again. Still no trace of the ride. I checked my trip history. My last trip was the one before Derek. No payment. No rating. No trace. It was like he'd never booked me. Like I'd driven out here for no one. Maybe I got scammed. Maybe he used a fake app or spoofed a ride somehow. I'd heard of that, people doing weird things for thrills. Still, it didn't explain how the door shut without a sound. Or how quiet the street was, like it was muffled from the inside. I was about to turn the ignition when I saw him. In the rear view. Not walking up. Not running. Just there. Sitting in the back seat again. Hood up. Same position. No sound. No door. I turned around sharply, heart in my throat. Seat was empty. Nothing. Just my reflection in the glass, pale and wide-eyed. I stared for a long time. Started the car. Drove out faster than I meant to. Didn't pick up another ride that night. Drove straight home. Didn't even log out of the app. Next morning, I checked again. No record of Derek. No address on Long Barrow listed in recent trips. Nothing in earnings. Like it never happened. But when I opened the glove box to grab my charger, there was something inside. A single torn receipt from a bowling alley snack bar. No name. Just one line, smudged in red ink. You picked the wrong guy up tonight. Some nights are just quiet in the wrong way. Like the city's holding its breath. It was a Thursday. Nothing unusual about it, no alerts, no weather warnings, no traffic spikes. I started my shift around 9:45 p.m. and got a few easy runs. Airport, pharmacy, one guy who needed to pick up keys from his ex's place but didn't want to go alone. Nothing heavy. I stopped at a gas station around midnight. One of those stations where the lights inside buzz just loud enough to remind you how empty the street is. I bought coffee that tasted like burnt cardboard, topped off the tank, then checked the app. New request. Pick up, Chris. Profile pic was blank. Just a gray outline. Location, 241 Lakeview Circle. A little ways off, mostly quiet homes. I accepted it. He was already outside when I pulled up. Early 30s maybe, clean-shaven, baseball cap pulled low. Wore a windbreaker and dark jeans. He looked tired. Not hungover, more like the kind of tired that comes from not sleeping for reasons you don't want to share. He didn't say anything when he got in. Just gave a polite nod. Destination, Harlan Street. About 15 minutes away. I tapped start trip and began driving. For the first few minutes, it was the usual silence. I didn't mind it. Some people talk. Some people sit with whatever they're carrying. He was the second type. I noticed something odd when we passed an intersection. The headlights caught his side of the car for a second in the glass. His reflection didn't look like it was sitting still. I glanced back, but he hadn't moved. Probably just the angle. Or me. I cleared my throat. You been out here long? He answered, softly. Long enough. It gave me a weird feeling. Someone else had said that before. A guy I picked up weeks ago. But I kept the car moving. About 2 minutes from his destination, he leaned forward a bit. You can drop me here. We were in front of a narrow brick house with no lights on. One of those homes that looked like it had stories buried under the lawn. I pulled to the curb. He opened the door, then paused. They're still in the house, he said, like he was thinking out loud. They won't leave. Before I could say anything, he stepped out and closed the door. I watched him walk to the porch, pause, then disappear around the side. Trip ended. The app buzzed. I gave him 5 stars out of habit. I sat for another moment, staring at the house. Didn't see any other movement. No second figure. No porch light. I pulled away, turned left, and circled back toward the main road. About 3 blocks later, I heard a soft click behind me. Like the back door being pulled shut. My eyes went straight to the mirror. Chris was sitting there. Same windbreaker. Same cap. Same position. I braked hard enough to jolt the car. Turned around. Seat was full. My throat dried out. You alright? I asked. He looked at me like I'd just asked if water was wet. You left before I was done. My hand hovered over the lock button. I dropped you already. He didn't respond. I pulled over again, this time under a flickering streetlight near a grocery store. Reached for my phone to check the trip. No ride in progress. No new pickup. No history. I stared at the screen, heart thudding behind my ribs. I didn't hear you get in. He shrugged. You weren't supposed to. Then he opened the door and stepped out again. No goodbye. No rating. He walked across the lot toward a row of parked cars and vanished between them. I sat there for 10 minutes, trying to find his name in the app. Nothing. No record. It was like he'd never been in the car. I drove home without turning the app back on. Parked. Shut off the engine. Sat in silence. I didn't tell anyone about it for a week. Eventually, I went back to that area during daylight. Parked outside the brick house. Walked past it like I was out for a jog. The place had boards nailed across every window. Weeds almost waist high. The mailbox was taped shut. And on the front door, scratched faintly into the wood, were 5 words. They're still in the house. I wasn't even working that night. I'd logged out of the app a few hours earlier after 2 uneventful pickups. One guy to a 24-hour gym. One to an apartment complex that smelled like old laundry. I'd pulled into the all-night diner on exit 9, the one with burnt coffee and a jukebox that hadn't worked since 2004. I wasn't hungry. Just didn't want to go home yet. Sometimes after enough strange nights behind the wheel, the thought of going back to silence feels worse than sitting somewhere under a buzzing light. A booth in the corner. 1 coffee. No sugar. I sipped slowly and stared at nothing, letting the low hum of other people settle me. That's when I saw them. A couple, early 20s, by the look of them, rushing in through the door like they were late for something. He had that bad night look, hoodie, tense shoulders, scanning the place. She looked worse. Pale. Trembling hands. They sat 2 booths over. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. But the diner was quiet, and she wasn't whispering. He didn't talk. He just stared. Like he was driving but not there. Her boyfriend was watching the window. I told you we should have waited. Real Ubers have plates you can check. No name came up, she said, barely holding it together. He didn't even start the trip. I set my cup down. Slowly. Where'd he pick you up? I asked, gently. They looked at me, surprised. But something in my face must have told them I wasn't a threat. Outside Crescent Theater, the guy said. 10 minutes ago. I nodded once. That street's one way after midnight. They both stared. He blinked. Yeah, it is. I motioned to the window. Which way did he drive? The girl looked at her boyfriend. Then back to me. The wrong way. I offered them a ride home. They hesitated. The girl looked at the logo on my car, double-checked the plates, made sure my name matched what she saw. Good instincts. I didn't blame her. They got in. We didn't talk much. They lived only about 6 miles out, in a quiet development just past the overpass. After I dropped them off, I sat there for a moment, engine idling. Something about the way they looked when they walked inside, like they didn't think the door was going to open for them, stuck with me. I pulled up my app. Went to earnings. Their ride wasn't listed. Not as a canceled trip. Not as cash. Nothing. Just like Derek. Just like Chris. Only this time. I hadn't picked them up through the app. 2 nights later, I saw the news. Local segment. Woman found wandering barefoot along Route 19. Disoriented, eyes bruised. Said she'd escaped from a man pretending to be an Uber driver. Gave them a rough vehicle description. No plates. No dashcam. No suspect. They played a short clip of the officer's statement. He didn't look surprised. Just tired. Multiple reports of similar incidents have surfaced over the last year, he said. Most people don't come forward. Some don't come back at all. It was late when I left the house again. Couldn't sleep. Drove aimlessly for a while. No music. No podcasts. Just the low rumble of tires over broken streets. Then I saw him. Same profile. Hoodie. Slouched posture. Waiting at a corner with his phone in his hand like he was just another guy checking his ride status. I pulled into the gas station across the street. Watched. He didn't move. Didn't even glance at the traffic. I tapped the dash cam. Still running. Good. I waited 5 minutes. Nothing. Eventually, a dark SUV pulled up. Not marked. No stickers. Tinted windows. He got in. Car pulled off. No headlights. I followed. Not fast. Just enough to keep them in sight. They turned twice. Once into a dead-end alley, then again back onto the main road, a loop. I stayed back. Kept the distance wide. Then they stopped. Right in the middle of the road. No hazard lights. No brake tap. Just stopped. I paused at the curb. Watched the rear door open. No one got out. Then the SUV pulled off again. Alone. I never saw the passenger leave. That night I didn't go home. I sat parked outside the Crescent Theater. Watched the same empty sidewalk, the same flickering sign. At 2:17 a.m., a man stepped out of the shadows. Gray hoodie. Same frame. He stood near the curb, phone in hand. Looking. But not at anything. I haven't driven since. Deleted the app. Removed the decals. But I still keep the dash cam. Sometimes, I rewatch the clip. The one where the back seat door closes, and no one's there. It makes no sound. Just the timestamp blinking. 2:17 a.m. Over and over. No ride requested. No ride completed. But someone always gets in.